Welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shashaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid, also known as @DavidKPNO.
And together we are coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
Yeah, as always, we'll be creating an animation from scratch live using HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript.
That's right, and this show is made possible by your support. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers or hit the like and subscribe buttons around the video. There are also additional links available below.
Yeah, and of course, ask questions because we will answer them right on the show.
So where in the world are you, David?
I'm home. I'm in Orlando.
Finally home.
Yeah, and my face looks a lot bigger than yours. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, I've not said it to your face, but behind your back that
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you were over in Iceland though, right?
Was it? Not Iceland.
Not
I was
Iceland.
over in Budapest. There we go.
Budapest. Wow. Hey, blown up. Moment. Budapest, and what was the conference for again?
It was CraftConf.
CraftConf. How did that how'd that talk go?
2 weeks ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, I was filmed last week.
I guess I saw you post that on Instagram, some photos from your trip.
Oh yeah. I guess that's what they call later games.
Yes, understandable. Talk for me again a moment.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Sorry.
All right.
working out some audio balance issues there. All right. Well, glad you're back. Glad to have you here on the stream. Let's check out this animation, shall we?
Yeah, shall.
All right. So today's animation is organic motion exploration for Airbus iOS.
Yeah, by Gleb Kuznetsov.
Yeah, didn't we do an animation by Gleb last week?
We did I believe a couple. He makes some really great stuff.
Yes, he does. And yeah, there's just so many interesting elements to this one. We've got these kind of 3D rotations. We've got these nice gradient color changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I guess what we're focusing on is we're continuing the GUI pattern, not GUI, but GOOEY, like we did the last episode.
Right.
And so this is an interesting take on it because it combines GUI, like GUI fluid motion, with 3D transforms and also gradients. So it definitely gets a bit interesting. We'll see if we could do this. No?
Yeah, I think we can get at least part of it in place.
All right, even if there's not GUI, no, it'll work.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of fun elements we can add if we have time as well. So let's get over into the code. So just our usual setup here of just resets and aggressive relative styles.
Yeah, well, it saves us a bit of typing. The real reason we do it is because it saves us at least an hour.
Talk to your team to see if position relative is right for you.
Side effects may include predictable layout.
Your results may vary. Yes.
All right. So for this, we probably want to actually have like some sort of phone frame, and the reason is because it's sort of the non-visible panels sort of rotate out of frame, and so we really want those to stay out of. Actually,
yeah, as long as they're the size of the content area mostly, then it should be okay. We can focus on that aspect ratio for simplicity's sake, but yeah. So our app frame as usual here. I'm gonna start pulling in a few of these gradients while you're doing that, just to get some interesting.
So, let's see.
Let's see.
I'm feeling semantic today. I have 3 articles inside of the name. Just because I don't know, maybe article isn't the right one, but we'll see.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right.
Yeah, and then let's just give these dimensions. And let's see. We're going to use viewport units again. So let's say a height of 90 VH and a width of like 50 VW. Or no.
You should use vmin for that.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Nice. So we have a bunch of articles all centered, but we don't want them really to be centered. So we're going to use our. Actually, we're going to use. All right. Let's see if I could get this right. We have display, grid, grid, columns. I don't know, just one grid. Oh, grid layout. Layouts, rows on the far end. So basically, we're just centering these, right? So article is going to be grid area 1, 1. I guess I have no idea what that means, but it seems to work.
And this is a trick we've used quite a few times now. Let's see, is that working?
I think so. I mean, they're all centered, right? So,
Well, they should be overlapping. I'm not.
Yeah. So they are.
Refresh. No, grid template.
Oh, jeez. Grid template. Wow. It has been an entire week since I did CSS Grid. And this is what happens. Practice your CSS Grid, people.
Yeah, that's weird. Boring. That's not working. Background. Let me just do a change that I know will be visible. Okay, I'm just not getting a refresh here. Let me reload. I'm gonna copy and paste these styles real quick.
I mean, I'll reload too. Okay. Watch, we're gonna lose everything.
I copied before.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so there we go. Now it's working. So yeah, grid template columns and grid template rows. We got that fun stuff implemented. Let's see.
I made everything black.
Beautiful.
Or at least close to black.
If you hear any crazy noises, that is just the wind. We've got quite some heavy wind today.
Really, it is nice and calm here in Florida. So we got the unlucky part of the weather.
Well, I've found Houston weather to be very comparable to Florida weather in that it's temperamental and changes every few minutes.
Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true.
All right, so I've got a few different gradient colors ready to go there. Let me one more here.
All right, so let's talk through strategy real quick. I'm guessing we're going to use a little bit of JavaScript just to set the state machine. Very simple state machine. We're moving from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, or we can move backwards, or we can move forwards. So there's sort of that bi-directional doubly linked list sort of thing going on.
Right. So yeah, state machine for basically a content slider.
Right. Which is essentially what we're making.
Yeah.
And so the idea is when 1 is active, and this is a technique we've used before. When 1 is active, the next one is rotated, to the right, and the one before is rotated to the left. Now, obviously, there is no the one before selector in CSS, so instead we had to fake it, and we could fake it using, we just say like everything's rotated to the left, and then the selected one is, it's just flat, and then the one after the selected one, or every single one after the selected one is rotated to the right. So that's a way you could fake it, and we could describe that in more detail later.
Yes. Well, let me put some colors on these articles.
How many articles do we have? 3 or 4?
Let's go ahead and do 4. I think we've got enough.
Okay, we'll do 4.
Uh,
And let's see, you have some colors there.
right. What's the best approach? Would you say
For colors?
yeah, for
I would
giving
say
each
for the
article
colors,
a unique color?
all right, so for the colors, it's best to define the colors directly on the HTML in the style attribute. And the reason why is because we could use CSS variables. That's what I meant to say. Don't put the colors literally on the HTML, but instead use variables, please.
Yes.
All right, so I'll go ahead and add those colors in there just to show you. So we have style equals, and I'm just going to say color, and what color is that first color?
So I've got some color variables actually in there.
Are those just random? Or
No, they're pulled from the animation.
okay, so which one is the pinkish one? Oh, it's pink.
Probably pink, yeah. And
Okay,
so what I can do is actually change these over to CSS variables, and then
okay.
you can just use them right in there. And I'm going to use this beautiful multi-cursor feature. That should give us those as
Cool.
actual colors.
All right. So after pink, we have.
So we actually probably want primary and secondary because we'll be doing some gradients. Secondary, so secondary for pink would be, I don't know.
All right, I'll let you do that.
Orange.
Actually put the colors on the article. If I can't back image linear gradients to bottom, their primary, and then their secondary. So do you say there or var? Because I say there, and I say there because it's variable, right? It's not variable.
So are we gonna get into another debate here
It's not a debate.
about why David is wrong?
Do you say var?
Yes.
Do you also say char?
Uh,
It's a character.
yes, actually. Char, yeah. When for splitting, it's what was the catchphrase I came up for that? My splitting JS library. It's CSS vars for split words and chars. So the pronunciation.
CSS for split words and
Yeah.
care. Works for me.
Sure.
What we're doing.
Okay. Yeah, these are looking
All right, so
pretty good.
Big. And all right, so I'm gonna play around with the grid here just because.
Uh-oh.
And so,
are you adding in a notch, David?
Look at that.
Hey.
Aha. So now it bleeds or whatever. I don't know what that's called. There's a margin.
Can't you also just do?
No, can't. Because it doesn't look as nice in the dev tools.
Yes, it does.
It does not. It definitely does not.
Well, is that going to affect our actual rotations?
Nope.
All right.
Because those are always going to be in that grid area. So we're good there. All right, let's get to some actual animating. So the first thing we're going to do is not do the GUI yet, but instead we're just going to just do some simple 3D transform rotation.
Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna get Goo copied in here just so we have it ready to go. Good. But it's not being used yet. We'll go over that when it's time. All right. So.
All right. So let's see. Let's say that every single article, again going by our little trick that we have, is going to be transform. We translate it to the left like 100%, and then we rotate on the y-axis like something 9 degrees. No, it's a lot more than that. Oh wait, we need our we need our 3D transform stuff. Transform style, preserve 3D, perspective. I don't know, 100 vmin. Can you use viewport units? Does that even make sense? You know what? We're gonna try it. Viewport units for perspective. Because why not?
Yeah, that should work.
Yeah. And so over here we're going to. Yeah. You already have an active.
Right. So I did data active.
Ah, there you go.
So that's what we'll want.
It's music to my soul.
And then what we'll do here is also target all of the articles after article. So this little squiggly selector, the tilde, right? Is that the tilde? Transform, translate X. So the tilde means all of the elements after.
Mm-hmm. So that's in contrast with the plus, by the way, which just means the immediate elements after.
Right. Oh, we need actual article, not that. Center. Right. Okay. Yeah.
That looks about right.
Looks like we're in business. Right,
because we also have I think we have a translate Z going on too. That's my hunch.
Yeah, it needs to be negative, doesn't it?
Let's go backwards. There we go.
Nice.
All right. Did you add a 10 vmin too?
Yeah. We typed that out at the same time. Jinx.
Wow. All right, great minds think alike. Or we're both idiots.
Something like that. And so you can do transform none here, but sometimes that causes issues with transitioning. We'll find out. If it does, we'll fix that.
Good luck.
Transition, transform, let's say. I'll do 0.5 seconds, and then our favorite easing, 0.5, 0, 0.51. And then should we go ahead and do a state machine?
Yeah. So before we do that, or while we do that rather, I'm looking up some code. We tend to use a lot of code that we create right on the episode, right on the episodes that we do. And we end up finding it's such a good pattern that we reuse it. The code in question that I'm thinking of is the code that we have that automatically adds like an active data attribute if something is active, and just removes it if it's not.
Yeah.
And so that's been really useful to us. You can see that as an alternative to using classes. Now I know that we've all done this before, where we've had like active classes or is loading classes or stuff like that. But we know that that gets messy really quickly. But we can't just put our finger on why that gets messy. So I'm going to find the script that we have. You know what? I'm sure it's in one of our previous patents. Look it up real quick. So one of them I know.
I'm simplifying things a little bit because it's going to help with the animation. So instead of adjusting the transform origin, it's really not needed. Actually, that probably will be needed for that exact effect, right? Where the way that they're rotating, the way that like the two layers kind of bend in at the edges might be necessary to have that transform origin. So let me leave that in there, just commented out for the moment, and we'll we'll see how
Yeah,
that
I wish we
goes.
could search CodePens by code.
You can when you are searching there, you can specify everything or code only, and that should get you there. Okay, let's do that. Get our background. This we'll do. Just set some defaults here. And pink, just for fun. Okay, right. Some copied and pasted. Which one is this from?
So this is actually from one of mine, but I've copied and pasted it in so many of our other ones. So basically, activates state. Actually, we're going to call this set state. Why not? Just like React, if you're used to React, which you probably are because you're working at CodePen now. And fun facts, the CodePen user interface thing is React, right?
That's right.
All right, am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
Okay.
We talk about it on the podcast and such.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Here's how much I listen to the podcast.
Hey. Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't listen to any podcasts really. I'm just a very visual person.
Yeah, so. I understand. So I'm thinking to simplify this, we can pretty much just do a click listener on the articles.
Yeah, let's do that.
And whatever article you click, you get that set as active from L articles. And
yeah, so I'm just gonna add that data show to each of the articles. I'm just gonna call it 1, like ONE.
Well,
I could give a number, but why not?
So I was going to simplify it even further than that. Article dot on click, or article add event listener click. Then that would trigger set state, or actually,
you need to grab the events.
That, and this would basically do that, and then article dot set attribute data active true. And
okay.
And then we don't strictly need.
All right, so basically we instead of searching for, so the reason we had the scripts before is because we had multiple elements that might be shown or might be hidden. But what Shaw's saying is this is a lot simpler because we only have one elements that's being shown. So we could just tell that one to be active, and then we're good.
Right, and I'm gonna add one specification here and data.
So let's try this out.
Active, yeah, it's working great. The problem is they kind of overlap at odd spots. Like the very last one is further ahead. So if you were just clicking left and right, it would bring that last one up. So what I did is just did the immediately adjacent sibling selector, the plus sign, to give that a z-index boost. Keep that over. And that should do it. That's working quite nicely. Okay, transition.
All right, I'm adding some variables for transitioning.
Yeah, why is our transform currently not working?
No.
Yeah. Transition, transform, 0.5 seconds, keep it Bezier. Let's just do a linear here.
Looks good to me.
There we go. It is. My cubic Bezier. Oops.
Just killed it. Sorry.
You killed me. Great. All right. Hey, look at that. We're like 75% of the way there.
Yeah.
All right.
So now let's just let's make it gooey. Actually, I want to tweak this easing, but yes, we need to make it gooey.
Okay, I'll go over that if you want to mess around with the easing here. All right, so we've
And the
got
contents too. Sure.
so we've got our Goo filter. We went over this a bit last time, so we won't do too in depth here. But this is an SVG filter that can be applied to regular DOM elements in with just CSS by using filter URL Goo, and that should right off the bat, yeah, show us these lovely little curved edges happening. We're probably going to have to do some tweaks to really make that look
Blend.
fully how we want. But that's
blending.
That's the basics of it. So the filter takes in the original source image and blurs it. That's this Gaussian blur here. Gaussian, however you pronounce that. And then
or wait, what? Gaussian or Gaussian?
Gaussian? Gaussian.
You were probably right before.
Gaussian, because we're doing a Goo filter. So, and then this color matrix takes that blurred image and sharpens it. So the blur kind of spreads everything out, but then that sharpening gives it nice hard edges and rounds everything out. And then it adds in the original image back on top. If we cut that out, you can see a lot more of the blending, which we actually might want. Well, no, because that's not going to work for the content. If we were just doing the backgrounds with that, we could do that, and you'd get that nice edge blurring there. But we'll do this for now. I think what we'll also want to do is play with the opacity a bit of the inactive ones. Let's say opacity 0.5 and opacity 1 for this. Oh, that's interesting because of the gooing. That gives an odd effect. Let's see.
Are we making sort of a glow type thing?
So that was just opacity. Changing the opacity of it actually caused is causing the Goo filter to be a little bit off. I think instead what we need to do is just that, and here I'm gonna do some kind of muted colors. Let's see, now color slurp here. Go. Hey, thanks for following. To have you with us. So we'll do that. That's actually purple. Do that. Bar, deep, purple. And then down here, go ahead and do purple. Default. Cool. Okay, there it goes. Needs to be a little bit lighter than. Let's see if I can.
This looks like a very colorful Cards Against Humanity.
It's pretty nice. That.
Wow, you're really, really playing with these colors here.
I like color. we don't want that. We want here, this, here. David, are you a code deleter or a code comment outer?
With source control, it's better to delete than to have never typed at all.
See, I always just comment out because source control has just recently been more a part of my life, and so just commenting out is the way that I work through if I need something. I'll comment it out, try something else out, and then get it going. Let's see.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a more insecure way to do it if you're insecure about your code. Not saying you are, but you
are. Certainly at times. All right, so that. Goo is not quite right with the way that it blends. Hearing what the right approach is here. See what I mean, though?
Sort of. Yeah, the colors are a bit weird right now. Making sure the Latin is correct here. It's always an important consideration when you're adding your long ipsum. You want your Latin to be grammatically correct.
Of course, that's the most important consideration here. Whoa. Right. It's kind of.
So what are you doing right now to sort of fix the colors?
Well, so that's something we should talk through. So there's a couple different problems here. So if we do the actual backgrounds for each of them, yeah, that's not bad. Whatever. That's pretty nice. And then, sorry, let me adjust that really quick. But the way that it's, blending is not exactly great, and there's so much emphasis on the side ones there. So I'd love to de-emphasize those. So the first thing I tried here was just opacity 0 and not 0. I don't want them completely invisible, and then opacity 1, which gives a weird kind of look because of the Goo filter. You see that? Like the way the edges of it are blending.
I mean, it looks pretty cool, but
it's a very interesting effect, but it also leads to problems with like the stacked cards on the left.
Yeah.
Because there's not a reverse adjacent selector, unfortunately. All right. Any suggestions here? None at all.
Uh, hmm. Sheesh, not that I could really tell. Hmm.
Slow that down a little bit.
Yeah, that color thing is pretty hard to get right.
Right,
I
and
mean, you can see at the top corners that it's blending
uh,
sort of the way we wanted to, but not fully.
right. So one of the other things I did here was just de-emphasizing the others with the background color there, which we would override here. Background image var duration var ease. See if it's like the multi-line CSS var. Fine. Get it all in one. Helps if you spell things correctly. That's not helping with the... Okay. So Steve G in the chat, thinking out loud, but could you add a second vertical gradient over the top of the side panels that goes dark to transparent? That's exactly what I was thinking. So let's do a before pseudo element, have it fill the container there. The background will be the correct linear gradient. Actually, no. The background of that will be the overlay, so that it can go on top of the content and everything as well. Content. Let's do that. And index 3. So cover up the content, and then we'll go set this to opacity 0.8 or something, so you get a little bit of the peek through of the proper color. Give background image there. Let's do that there, and then data active, we will say, and before opacity 0. That'll give us that nice reveal of the content. We'll take that off because we don't have that anymore. And then we'll do transition inherit, transition property. Let's make sure that's opacity, just to be sure. All right, that's already feeling better, but we're having some interesting overlap.
Yep, sorry, messing with the things to make it look more like the original animation. But yeah,
that's very nice. Okay, that's a little better. Let's so one thing I'm gonna do here is override that with transform origin, and z index, and we'll simplify this down. I like to, in general, when I can, set transition to be like all duration and ease, and then I override transition property with the specific ones that I want for that element. I always find that to be a nice approach. Let's see. So the Z index there, I'm not sure is the right approach. What if we did transform translate Z forward, translate Z. Oh yeah, so that's override that. Z 4. Still getting that overlap there, so I do think we need to do Z index.
Yeah, the overlap's pretty weird.
Nice. Let's do this is 6. Okay, that's padding. Margin. Oh. Nice effect. Yeah, what do you think? It's getting some that strange overlap because of the Z index. Let me
So I remember the last episode we sort of had a different technique where we separated out the backgrounds. Do you think that would help? Or not in this case?
It certainly would. That's definitely going to add some complication.
I mean, not necessarily. We could just what can we do? We could just just wrap stuff. No, just kidding. Copy paste.
Well, so even with, let's see. Yeah, so part of the problem is the Goo filter affects everything in that container that it's applied to, and so we have that applied to the entire app, which is perfectly fine, but that prevents us from doing the truly smooth version of it where you don't blend the source graphic back in. So if you look at that there, you can see that nice blending of the color at the edges, but that also means the text itself is blended in there. So yeah.
Right. So what do you think about like let's duplicate. You know what? Let's duplicate. Let's duplicate. I'm not saying that word correctly. So what we could do is I'm going to copy paste these articles, and we're going to have two sections. We're going to have a content section, so section class equals content, and then we're going to have a section class equals background. And so in the background section, that's going to be the only place we apply the filter. That makes sense. Wouldn't that work? Yeah, that would.
Right.
Let's try that.
That's the concept there. Yeah.
And so this is the same concept that we did in the last. So let's copy these articles here, and then what we could do is like each of these sections. Oh, there's some weird meaningless going on. Whoa. This is cool. I think we made some accidental art.
I'm gonna blend the source graphic back in so we get a little clearer idea of what's happening here. All right. So in section class equals content, you have all that. Let's straighten that out.
Each of the sections are going to be.
All right, and we don't necessarily need that style on the content. remove that. And so we are going to have to update the state machine there to actually be state machiney. But first, okay. So what did you do there?
So let's see, the sections are supposed to be on top of each other, and each of the articles in the sections are supposed to be on top of each other too, but it doesn't look like that's happening.
Okay, so let's go back and debug here. Let's simplify this a moment. 1 over 1. See.
It seems like the section is sort of over. Well, oh. You know what?
That probably helps.
There we go.
Okay.
So now we just need to switch the order of the background and the contents. Oops.
Yeah.
Phew. Okay. That was a very quick refactoring session, but you know what? We're on the right track, I believe.
Yes.
Our state machine still works, and now all we have to do is get rid of the background for the, which we did, right?
Well, yeah, so part of the, wait, how are the backgrounds working right? Oh, okay. So the backgrounds aren't actually working at the moment. Take this off and you'll see what I mean. We'll do, let's take off, let's make these divs just to prevent any bleed over. Div. I'm just breaking things. Give me a moment. Yes. Tricky. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so as Steve EG mentioned, we definitely did choose a tricky one this week. But you know what? That's the spirit of the challenge.
Yes.
We do enjoy a challenge. But I believe we could get this. What's this div business? Did we add a div in there?
Yeah, I replaced the article with div for the background because those are not articles, David. That's not semantic.
That's sure.
So what we want to do here is data. What's the proper attribute here? Data ID, data.
For what?
For doing a state machine, because we're going to have to activate the background too. We can't just activate the article in this.
Go by class.
What's that?
Let's just go by class. Or
well, we don't have any classes or anything.
All right, let's see what we're doing in the JavaScript. All right, let's see our articles. Documents. All right, so
right. So basically, what we want to do is toggle which background and article are active, and right now we're just actually toggling the article.
Yeah. So here's what we could do. Background articles. So background articles, and then we could say contents. Articles. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Backgrounds. Backgrounds. Just background. And then we just do like a we get the index of. Oh, okay, yeah, I know what to do. So
you see what I'm going for
article, there? When we're listening to the article text, right? On index equals L content articles dot. Let's make this an array. Find index, and then we're going to find index of the actual b dot target. No, article.
Yeah.
Console.log index. Let's see if that works. So this way we could set it based on the index instead. Okay. That's what I'm thinking, but nothing's working.
Yeah, got nothing yet. One thing I want to do here, real quick, move our goo to the background. So that it's not affecting the content. Let's see. L articles is not defined.
Oh, did you call it L articles? Oh, you called it L articles. That's right.
Yeah.
L articles. That's fine. You got it now.
So one thing we can do is go ahead and just wrap these in array.froms, because that makes it much easier to work with. And then we don't have to do this there, this there. Let's go ahead and add our
unexpected token. Oh, HTML elements is not a function. Oh, well, no articles. Log skips.
Yeah, I think we're okay now. Okay, so
right,
HTML
but
element.
It's not finding the index.
lapp.set click type error HTML element.
It's not really finding that index.
Let's.
Oh.
Not.
Index of.
Yeah. Oh, is that?
Oh,
yeah.
It's index of. Just kidding. I don't know why. Oh, I was thinking find index of. All right, cool. So now it works. So let's see. First, we remove all data active, and then we're going to do two things. We're going to set data active to.
So that's something else that I was thinking if we used a data ID instead of the index, but we can use either approach. So this we would do.
We could say.
Oh.
Article. See, we could say article, and then the
true
equals
and then
background. Yeah. So L
equals backgrounds. Oh yeah.
Index.
There we go.
Okay, cool. So we have our background elements.
Go. Backgrounds. In theory.
This is like some JavaScript surgery right now.
Yeah. So is it giving us an error? Okay, called with invalid operation.
Unexpected token, something or other.
What is happening? Oh. Now. There we go.
Cool.
All right.
All right, here we go.
So what we want is to copy. Let's do a couple of things here. Article, do that, and then.
Now, why is the layout all these? Did I mess up the mouse somewhere?
So backgrounds.
Oh.
that.
We are very close.
Almost there. Almost there. Background. Background. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
and
weird.
data active. Are the backgrounds actually getting their data active state? It doesn't look that way.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have? Oh, okay. I see the problem. Div.
I'm adding pointer events none to the backgrounds just because
Okay.
we don't want some accident to click into heck there. Oh, hey, I see some color.
Yes, we are getting there. All right, so
this is data ID business.
We want. You can take those off if you feel like it. Transform style. That here. Go. All right. And oh, getting some oddities here. Let's see.
All right, so it looks like some.
Good gravy.
Oh my god!
What
it
did
looks
you
like
do?
some. Yeah. There's been some weird things happening here.
Yeah, the multi-cursor at times with like the root element, like that you're editing can be strange.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, this is weird.
Okay. Whoa.
There's 3. And I'm not sure what this is, but okay. All right, cool.
Okay. Almost there.
I just pressed analyze HTML. I don't know what that does, but let's hope
it's just gonna say oops.
It's just gonna say oops. That's pretty helpful. What's Clay?
Hey, okay. Refresh because I think we're out of sync here.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Don't
touch anything. You know what?
Yeah.
I won't touch
mess with anything at the moment. All right.
Oh my god, what's happening?
Okay. Almost there. Div. All right. So we've got our second one is data active on both of them. All right. And then
it's like herding cats.
I think that's a little bit easier. Okay, so for article, let's do opacity 0, transition property, opacity, and then what we'll do is and data active opacity 1, and that will hide content except for the active, and it'll blend in there. Let's go ahead and take off the blend in source graphics so we get that nice smoothing with the Goo filter. Yeah, that's feeling much better.
Yeah, let me refresh because I'm still not seeing the full color.
Yeah.
Oh, you're removing the color.
Yeah, for the side by side, the ones off to the side, they get that muted color thanks to that before element. I'm gonna bring that out a little bit more. Let me refresh just to make sure that we're both on the same Same page here. Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, it's looking nice. Except, wait, sometimes I don't know if it's just you refreshing, but sometimes the blurriness goes away.
Yeah, that was just an issue a second ago, but it should be fixed now. Man. Okay. Yeah, I think we're in business here.
Cool.
Should we
Yeah.
take off our outline debugs and then keyflect?
Yeah.
All right. Uh, wow. All right, we're now moving into Keyflections, a quick review of the techniques used to build this animation. If you have any questions, ask us in the chat or in the comments below, and we'll be happy to answer.
Yeah. And if you've enjoyed watching us so far struggle through this terribly difficult challenge that we chose, you could follow and subscribe here on Twitch or YouTube to see some more fun results, or pledge at patreon.com/keyflections.
That's right. All right, so today's animation is Organic Motion Exploration for Airbus iOS, and that is available on Dribble by this lovely artist Gleb. The link is there. And there's a lot of other things going on with this animation, but we mainly wanted to focus on this kind of beautiful organic transition of the content cards, and these nice beautiful gradients. And so here's where we ended up after much deliberation. What should we cover first here, David?
So let's cover the 3D transforms. Those are pretty straightforward over here.
Yeah. Well, should we talk about the state machine first?
Yeah. So let's talk about it's not really a state machine. We're just, here's what we're doing. Whenever you click an article, we identify which parts of the DOM are active. And active means it's in the state we wish to represent. So for example, if you click the first one, then we want to do two things. We want to show the first article nice and center, which is this get the mill seat if you don't check in on time. And we also want to show the background elements. And that's just so that we get that cool effect. And so it moves with the article. Now to do that, we first have to remove all of the current data active. So we clear the state outs, and then we add the data active to all of the elements that are currently active. So simple as that. And using data attributes is it's a more robust approach than using, say, class names or classes rather. And that's because you're not polluting your classes and having potential conflicts and having to keep track in your head, oh, which classes are the ones I'm using for this dynamic state. And instead, you have this nice sort of namespace data selector, which is very easily accessible in JavaScript. You could just use data sets, and then you could see all of the data attributes of each of the elements. So it's a pretty robust approach.
Yeah, I just updated some code last week on CodePen to use a data attribute because we had basically a class toggle that was happening, but there were 3 different possible states of it, and with the classes, you first had to unset the classes that you don't want on there, and then you had to add the correct one. Whereas with a data attribute, if you're toggling between 3 different states, you've got in the wrong area here. You've got your element, data set dot, your property equals, 2, and then you're done. That took off like 80 lines of the logic that we had in place for that. So it was a beautiful thing to see. Are you messing with the transforms here?
I am.
Okay.
And for one reason, it's sort of bothering me that when you click right, that right panel goes above. It's very jarring.
It is the z indexing of it is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well. And you can actually transition z index and then transition delay. That's one of the things I tried earlier was bumping up the transition delay there, but that doesn't specifically do it in the way that we want.
So, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, well,
we'll leave that as an exercise to the viewer.
Yeah, yeah, some homework for you. All right, so our actual articles here, we needed to separate the background and the content. And this was for a couple of different reasons, but primarily because of the goo effect. This nice blending of the layers happening here is thanks to this SVG filter. Hey, thanks for subscribing with Twitch Prime, all the third. If you didn't know, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, and that gives you a subscription you can use on each on a channel each month. And if you choose to use that here, that helps support us, and we definitely appreciate that. So thanks. So this goo filter here is applied only to the background section, so that we get that nice blurring of the colors and these nice soft edges happening here. And then it works by blurring and then sharpening, and then you get some nice hard edges, but these nice blending of the colors. And we separated out the background and the content because the way that it was blending without separating them out was just too hard of an edge on the primary one that we were interested in. So we've gotten that fixed by separating out the two and working out that logic in our JavaScript. And then whenever one is clicked, we get that data active. And that does a few things. So that adjusts the 3D transforms, which we already talked about. But it also adjusts a before pseudo element that's over the background that gives that kind of muting of the colors for the ones that aren't active. So if it's not active, the before is with opacity 0.8. If it is active, the before is opacity 0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. And then the 3D transforms are also partially done thanks to these adjacent sibling selectors. So we have the default state is translated off to the left, whichever you're viewing on the video, to the left, translated back and rotated in. And so that's this state right here. The active one, there's no rotation, there's no translating. It's all just in the default state. And then any of them after, which is this sibling here with this selector here with the tilde. That means all the elements after are translated way over to the right, and then translated back and rotated. But then the element immediately after it is translated and rotated just a little bit over to the right, so that you get this one right here.
I know it doesn't make sense for the defaults to be rotated to the left, but you could think of that as, like we said earlier in the episode, that we don't have a before select. Well, we do have a before pseudo selector, but we don't have a before this selected element selector. So we need to just select all of them at first, and then we separate out the active one and everything after the active.
Yes. Yeah, those adjacent sibling selectors are awesome. It would be wonderful if there were a reverse sibling selector, but that's definitely.
And let's add parent selectors while we're at it too.
Right, and element queries and all that.
Ooh, fun stuff.
Hey, thanks for following.
Yeah.
Anything else that we would cover? Any questions anyone has? Let's see.
Let's see, no questions in the chat. So I think this is a continuation of what we did for the last episode. Completely different animation, but the same sort of techniques.
Yes, you should check that one out. That's called modal mitosis, and the link is in the chat there. You should check out that video where we do more with the Goo filter and implement some fun effects with that. That's all we have for today. Should we close it out?
Sure thing.
All right. Well, you have been watching Keyframers. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to see more from David and I, there are many ways you can support us. Primary way being pledging at patreon.com/keyframers. That helps us out each month and is amazing. You can also like and subscribe at youtube.com/keyframers, where we have all of the archives of our videos and more interesting content to come. So check that out there.
Yeah, and we accept submissions for future episodes, so please tweet at Keyframers with any non-GUI animations you would like to see made, because we've done enough GUI ones so far.
That's right.
You can also present questions or challenges to us, and we will try to answer them on the air. And this includes suggestions as well, so thank you, for example, Steve G, for suggestions. So please share this video and demo across all of your social platforms.
And let's wash this goo off our hands and move on. All right. That's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.